crash course to getting you started with your vibration plate today. This is a very basic introduction before we get into what type of this, what type of that, programs, exercises. I want you to understand the fundamental basics of how you control the intensity and the settings of your vibration plate for your body type, your issues, and your overall goals. So if you're fearful at all, if you are dealing with chronic issues, recent injury, you're not supposed to be bearing a lot of weight, get yourself a stool. This is a good tool to have whether you are fit or not, certainly from a stability perspective. But if you're fearful and don't want to start standing on the platform, perhaps you're dealing with poor balance, start yourself seated. You can certainly, think of your body like renovating a house. You can start from the foundation and work yourself up, especially if you're dealing with neuropathy, chronic issues, swelling, or pain. Sometimes it's easier to get started in a seated position. So I'm going to get started, but I'm going to progress very quickly to standing, and I hope you do as well. When you're using a vibration plate for the first time, there's lots of different types of movements out there. Primarily, my coaching is in oscillating movement. Oscillating is very similar to walking. It's very low impact version. It mimics how our body walks across the floor. The biggest thing that is not discussed and needs to be understood is amplitude, or the intensity of the vibration, that it feels different to everybody. So how do you customize it for you? So if your feet are right now positioned about hip width apart, I challenge you to bring them as close to the center as you're able. And you'll notice you're not really moving a whole lot. I've just got it on the basic starting speed. We'll get to speeds next, but I want you to understand the control at any speed is in the positioning of your feet or your hands. So now if your feet are dead center, take one foot and put it on the outer edge, and you'll feel there's quite a bit more movement on one leg than the one on the center. If that's not uncomfortable, you're not dealing with any bad knees or uncomfortableness, put your feet both now on the wider edge, and you'll notice that there's everything's kind of shaking and flopping around. Think like a teeter-totter. If you're out on the wider edges, you're getting the amount of movement increased. Just like if you're walking versus running, the faster you're going, the harder your heel is hitting the pavement or the ground when you're running faster. So when your feet are wider, you're moving more distance, you're getting more impact. So if you are dealing with chronic issues or pain, you can manage any speed or program as long as you understand in oscillating that the control is where you position your feet. So let's bring those feet closer to the center. I want you to bring your speed range or your level up to a mid. So if your machine goes 50 to 60 speeds or it goes 100 speeds, kind of get into the middle. It's all about ranges. There is no exact number or amount of time to do any one given exercise. There isn't, everybody's different, and what your body responds to as far as this stimulation or what you can personally tolerate is going to vary. So the control is always in the feet. So now that we're going a little faster, you'll notice it's a little bit smoother. The faster you get going, the less reaction time your body has to kind of wobble and move back and forth. So once you get into these higher speeds, there's more movements going on. And how far apart your feet or your hands are is really going to be depending on the exercise that you're doing and what your personal level of comfort is. For those of you that are ready to progress to standing, we're going to do what's called a sit to stand. We're going to go from this position to standing on the platform. For those of you that aren't ready to continue to a standing position, feel free to continue what we're doing right now for about 2 to 5 minutes. Feel free to add your hands, or if you want a little bit more upper body action and you're just not able to get down on the ground yet, add your elbows to your knees. And again, depending on level of comfort, feet closer reduces the intensity, feet wider increases the intensity. So you decide what's comfortable for what you're doing, throughout the course of your use on the machine. So for those that are ready to progress to standing, I hope that you're able to stand up of your own ability. If you find that you need to use your arms or it's a struggle to stand up just using your legs, an exercise to get started on might be that sit to stand, or you may need to start in a standing position. Your stool serves dual purpose. Perhaps you just need something to hang on to in case you spook yourself, okay? So make sure that the knees are slightly bent. If you are standing really tall or locking your legs, you're moving all of the movement up through your skeletal structure to your head. It's not harmful, but it takes some getting used to, and we have a tendency to guard and protect and fight the vibration, and that actually intensifies and amplifies it. So let those natural shock absorbers kick in. Keep a nice posture. Just make sure you're breathing, and you'll find if you bend a little deeper and we get into more of a squat, you're going to feel the vibrations suppress lower. The pressure's building on the legs. For those of you that are looking at getting stronger, you don't need to spend as much time doing these exercises as you would on the floor. So from a fitness perspective, outside of how great it makes you feel, vibration machines increase the effectiveness of doing those floor-based exercise. Think of them as an environment. They're an environment that kind of superficially increases your exposure to gravity, makes those muscles work harder through these little micro movements, but through much less impact than walking. So you can exercise those muscles without harm to the knees and the hips, the ankles. If you're dealing with hypermobility, arthritis, swelling, it just makes exercise more possible. But I want you to master standing first. Please experiment with this. If you have access to your machine throughout the course of your day, 2 to 5 minutes a couple times a day would be phenomenal. If you're looking at progressing to other things, there are other videos. I'll drop some links in this feed where you can find more exercise and feel-good applications of how to use your vibration plate.